I'm standing here in the stadium where young men and women athletes of 53 nations met to compete in friendly competition for the honor of thy country and the glory of sport.
That was the immortal Jesse Owens returning to the stadium in Berlin where 40 years earlier he made Olympic history. And now, 40 years after that, in the very same stadium, Stephan James brings to life the 22-year-old that blitzed Hitler's Germany.
For me, I wanted to make sure that people had the opportunity to be inspired by Jesse the same way I was in researching him and learning about his story and exactly what he overcome to essentially change the world. So for me, the biggest message in this film is just inspiration.
I gotta ask each of you, what's it like to see someone you know so intimately portrayed by someone else, and it's different for you than anybody else who watches this movie? What was that like?
He's such a likable person, which Daddy was, a likable person. And he worked so hard to portray Daddy as he was, you know, the training and all, his running, his stance, it's just wonderful.
Initially you say, well, you're watching somebody portray your father, and pretty soon I was convinced that that was him.
Also playing a real-life character is Jeremy Irons. The Oscar winner portrays Avery Brundage, who was instrumental in overcoming the strong sentiment to boycott the games to stand up to Hitler's atrocities. A conflicted character, Irons also must have gotten a sense of what Brundage felt like in that same stadium.
I look at news reports now of atrocities that are happening all over the globe and genocides and how we just sort of avoid it and just get on with our own thing. Nothing has changed. I think his only concern was to make the Olympics an international event and therefore have America's involvement.
I heard they don't care much for color folk over there.
Well, they don't care for him much here in Columbus either. Is that gonna be a problem?
No, sir. I just came here to run.
What percentage do you think was just, I'm an athlete, I want to win anyway, and how much was he driven by what a symbol he had become?
The remarkable thing about Jesse is, you know, he didn't go to Berlin to show anyone up. He didn't go there to prove any sort of point. He literally went there because he felt like he was the fastest person on the planet and that he could win at those games, you know? And for me, that's so telling about the type of man he was. He didn't really have a purpose or intention in going over there, that he sort of just went over there for the love of the running and the love of the sport, and that in turn changed the world.